Welcome back to Stay Tuned Reviews. In this video, we will be taking a look at the movie One Night in Miami. First off, let me start off by saying that after watching One Night in Miami, I can sit here and honestly tell you that this movie is simply spectacular for a number of reasons. I would also be willing to bet that this movie may be in a contender for Movie of the Year. So if you lend me a few minutes of your time, I'll be more than happy to tell you why I believe One Night in Miami is a must-see movie. Want to hear an interesting fact about me? I enjoy feedback on my videos just as much as Precious enjoys a bucket of fried chicken. So please, if you have a question, observation, or even a criticism, feel free to leave a comment on my video and I'll be sure to get back to you. And if you enjoy the content that I'm sharing, be sure to hit the like button or subscribe, and I promise to keep the new videos coming. One Night in Miami is a movie that's based on a true story. Imagine it being the year 1963, and you're sitting in a room where four of the most popular and iconic people in black culture are hanging out. While they're hanging out, they're discussing matters that are near and dear to them. This is what essentially you're going to be seeing if you watch One Night in Miami. This movie is Regina King's directorial debut, and the runtime for it is a little under 2 hours long. I must also share that in this review, there will be some spoilers that are shared. They're not major spoilers, but I think shedding some light on some of the plot points will help you understand why I feel that this movie is a must-see. I think it's also important to mention that One Night in Miami is a movie that's an adaptation of a stage play with the same name. That means that the majority of the movie takes place in one central location, and most of the plot only covers a period of time of a few hours. One of the main criticisms that I hear from people who saw other play adaptations, such as Fences or Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, is that both movies felt too much like a play at times. So I wanted to give you a fair warning that this movie is somewhat similar to those movies when it comes to style. Without further delay, let's jump into the review of One Night in Miami. I want to start off by saying that one of the strengths in this movie is its storytelling and messaging. In the movie, we see that following Cassius Clay's defeat of Sonny Liston, Malcolm X invites the newly crowned heavyweight champ himself, Cassius Clay, the King of Soul, Sam Cooke, and the NFL star running back Jim Brown up to his room for a party. At least that's what they thought. We later learned that Malcolm's true intentions for inviting these three friends to his room were to discuss race relations and how they could each make an impact in helping their own community. In this part of the movie, we get to see a major conflict brewing between Sam Cooke and Malcolm X. For what seems to be an eternity, the two characters begin to argue with one another on the approach that they use to make the black community better. And in this discussion, Malcolm views Sam as one of the most influential voices in the black community that wastes his gifts by singing and pandering to white audiences. Sam views Malcolm as wanting to hang out with black people with actual talent because all Malcolm is good at doing is making speeches that piss off white people. One could say that Sam Cooke and Malcolm X are polar opposites when it comes to the issues that they stand on. During this conflict, Jim Brown sits back and serves as a voice of reason to the debate between friends. And when appropriate, he gives a very calculated and thought out response to the issues at hand. During the entire debate between Malcolm and Sam, Cassius Clay really doesn't have a definitive opinion on the matter. This is because he is in the beginning process of becoming a Muslim as well as a member of the Nation of Islam. I appreciate the conflict that was shown between Sam and Malcolm because I believe that this is something that still resonates to this day. Within the black community, we have factions that are represented by the four main characters of this movie. Malcolm represents the militant faction, or those group of people that believe that change and progress occurs from being vocal and uncompromising. Sam represents the calculated faction, or those people who realize the need for change, but believe that thoughtful actions, which directly help people of color, do more to promote change than mere words. Jim Brown represents the laid-back faction, or the group of people that acknowledge that there are problems in the black community and believe that change needs to happen, but they won't put themselves on the front lines of the fight, nor will they let anyone else run over them. And Cassius Clay represents the hands-off faction, or the group of people who are aware that problems exist in the community, but they don't put much thought into how they can make a difference until someone encourages them to do so. I think that within this movie, the overall message is that everyone has a role to play in the quest towards improving our black community, and that we benefit more from learning from one another versus being unmoved in our beliefs. Next, I want to say that the ending to One Night in Miami was very satisfying. Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, Jim Brown, and Cassius Clay are four of the most prominent leaders of the civil rights movement in the 1960s, and the ending goes on to show how Jim, Sam, and Cassius, who is now Muhammad Ali, went on to take a stand for what they believe in. The ending also shows the beginning of the end for Malcolm X. I would venture to say that Malcolm set this meeting up with Jim, Sam, and Cassius because he knew that his days were numbered, and he realized that the movement to help the people in his community was bigger than himself. To those people that are hesitant to see One Night in Miami because it's an adaptation of a stage play, I'm here to say don't hesitate. Let me emphatically say that in my opinion, One Night in Miami is one of the best movies out there in adapting a play material to the movie. Yes, the movie takes place mostly in Malcolm's hotel room, but the movie makes clever use of flashback scenes as well as scenes outside of the hotel room that gives each character their own time to shine. I also thoroughly enjoyed all of the acting performances throughout the movie. In my opinion, there were two actors that stood out from the rest and truly became their real-life counterparts. Those actors were Leslie Odom as Sam Cooke and Aldous Hodge as Jim Brown. In my opinion, they nailed the look, the voice cadences, the mannerisms, and they truly became their characters. Kingsley Ben-Adir did a phenomenal job in the movie. However, I wasn't 100% sold on him being Malcolm X. With Denzel being the standard for Malcolm, as well as seeing how Malcolm was in vintage video clips, it is my opinion that Kingsley just didn't have the secret sauce to make me a believer that he was Malcolm. Eli Garay plays Cassius Clay, and while he also did a great job acting, in my opinion his performance felt a little like an imitation of Cassius Clay, and not a full-on portrayal of who the man truly was. Aside from my nitpicks, I strongly believe that One Night in Miami is a remarkable movie. I think Regina King did an exceptional job for her directorial debut, and I would definitely recommend this movie as a must-see. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you're interested in knowing when my new content will be uploaded, feel free to check out my schedule and also subscribe so you can be kept in the loop. I hope you all have a great day and stay blessed.